This is Shell. There's Howie.
Your name again is Hey, Mother Bear. Ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Let me see now. What is that? Are those your eyes? Are you an insect?
Yep. I'm an insect too.
Oh my, look at those eyeballs.
Look at me, Daddy. Look at me.
You're too close. Oh my.
Yeah, I have big eyes.
Looking for bread and milk. Here's Jan going shopping. And each kid represents a Jan. Morning Jan, lunchtime Jan. And the checkout girl looked at her with funny eyes and Jan said, yes, these 10 gallons of milk are for one family. And here's Jan going through.
And by the way, I went to Jerry's and her picture's still on the wall.
So Jan is shopping. See, there's a lot of play food on there, so they're making sure they get all the food. Okay, Grandma, I think you're all done, right? We have a lot of food for the week. What do you say? You got it all? 10 gallons of milk? You got all the milk? All right. Go home now. A big hand for our Jan. Now this is the first gift. We have another one. This is where a frying pan was broken. And the kids did not communicate. And they did not talk. Yeah. They actually, the kids didn't talk, and therefore I do want to explain that Simi always played Santa. So here it is, Simi passing out all the gifts to Jan, and everybody gets a present because everybody's Jan. So here is Simi passing the gifts, and with that, we're going to take one Jan at a time to open it. So you know what? We're going to start with the very far Jan over there with the hat. What did you get? Oh, Jan got a frying pan. Very nice. Now let's go to the other Jan. I wonder what it would be. A frying pan. Oh boy, 2 frying pans. Let's go ahead with the next Jan. And this way, this is going to be... No way. Another frying pan. We have 3. Oh, this cannot be what I think it is. Oh, another one. And, oh,
Simi got her
Lord.
frying pan.
Do you remember that time, Jan? You got 7 frying pans. Oh, my God. That's so All right, kids, you can bring your frying pans over there to the kitchen. Take a look. This was a squirrel who came into the house, and nature-loving Jan was afraid of squirrels, so Jan ran to the bathroom. She locked herself in the bathroom. Wasn't it, Jan? In the bathroom? And what did Simi say? Simi was laughing. Come on, Simi. He was just laughing. Now, there was another instance that there was let's have all the Jans sit down again, and there was another instance that we had another uninvited guest. But this time it was a bird. And this bird got in the house, don't know how, and Jan ran and locked herself up. Okay, here we go. Shannon.
Birthday card, so
Take it out of there. And what about these?
Oh, yeah.
thank you for with their very first performance. They're to take it on the road.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, let's put them on their hand.
You know, down in New Orleans, you got to earn those beads.
Okay, now this is the time where we're going to ask you to share your memories. And I'm going to start with her oldest sister, Marilyn. She doesn't want to do it and bring back good memories and good things and just see how blessed we are. This is from Marilyn, who is Jan's. Can someone go and ask them to turn off the sound in here? For Jan. My first memory of Janet or myself was when we lived in our second rented house on Park Street, next to Grandma Town, our next door neighbor. She had seashells all along the shelf in her enclosed front porch. We could really hear the ocean through those shells. Airway. One time soon, after Ruth and Bertie James came to live with us, Ruth was washing Janet's hair and Jan was crying. I said, my mother doesn't wash her hair like that. I can understand that older protective sister thing. Then Jan and Ruth were both crying. It must have been really hard for our families, losing Catherine, her mother, at such a young age. Janet, do you remember when our dad and Dorothy got married? We moved to an apartment in Evanston, 1623 Monroe Street, and they gave us a small throw rug for our bedroom. It was red with white initials in opposite corners, an M in one corner and a J in the other for both our names. When our dad remarried, I was almost 7 and Janet just 4. I never lied, not because I was good, but because I was afraid my head would fall off or something. Then one day someone asked us if we'd gotten into the jar of jelly. I said no, and Janet, with jelly all over her face, said no. I was so nervous, but now I can't remember what happened. Probably nothing. And triplet girls lived in the apartment next to us. There was a vacant lot between us with an abandoned cement foundation and cement walls. We played house in there with the triplets by the hour. Then there was the spring that Janet got scarlet fever. Mother was pregnant with Peg, and Dad and I had to move out. We stayed with Graham and Foam for weeks. You and Mom were quarantined on the second floor apartment. We'd come and visit you too. We'd visit you too at the windows, talking to us on the ground. And one Christmas, Janet and I asked for ice skates. We found them under a bed, put them on, and walked around the apartment in them. We must have known we were going to be alone for a while. Later, I wondered if skate tracks were on the carpeting. After a few years, we bought a house next to Foam and Graham in Wilmette. One night, Janet was washing the dishes, and I was drying, and we were arguing. I can't believe that one. I had stacked the clean dishes on a stool. As Dad came into the kitchen to give us each a swat, he knocked over the stack and most of the dishes broke. He was so angry he just walked away into the other room. We were saved again. And Janet always loved all pets. We got our 2 dogs this way. Pal came to our house and stayed. We thought he was a toy collie, but I'm sure he wasn't. Butch, he looked like a Springer Spaniel, came to our backyard with a tumor on his neck. Mother took him to the vet and had it removed. Mother said that because she had to pay for the surgery, we got to keep the dog. Pal and Butch, catchy names, don't you think? Speaking of dogs, when we still lived in Wilmette, Mother had her appendix removed and was recovering lying on the couch in the living room. One of us, probably me, tried to light the burner of the stove and dropped the lighted match into the drawer below and started the paper bags on fire. Dad, hysterically running around looking for a fire extinguisher as the flames was getting higher. Mother limped off to the kitchen and threw the dog's water on the fire. Mother was always the calm one. I'll bet you all wondered how Janet got to be such an accomplished pianist. Our parents got an old upright piano and put it in Graham's garage because we didn't have a garage. Do you remember Billy put old license plates on the walls? Anyway, every Saturday morning, I gave Jan piano lesson. Of course, I never taken one myself. Somehow we got a beginner piano book. We actually learned to read music a little bit. Gosh, I've more memories of Janet growing up than I thought. Hope they have brought back some memories and probably some stories she never knew about. Our love to the birthday girl on her 7th year and Bud. That's a good thing because it's probably the only time we'll hear these stories and their grandkids can get to know the real truth. It's got to go from generation to generation. And now this time I open to the floor. I hopefully we have people that have prepared some things and maybe you have thought of something while listening. Don't be shy. Who wants to start? But Cliff.
I will.
George, I would like you to be somewhere in there before they tie up the whole microphone. Like who you are. And your name, sir, is? And you live in?
Actually, I'm further see what
I'm sorry. And you live in? And you are Jan's? Brother.
Yeah, think about this.
Oldest? Okay.
Not the biggest, but the young, the best looking, too. And the best. A lot of you don't know this, but I dated Jan before Siemsen. And we had a lot of fun. Jan was living in Delavan. Where are you, Jan? Jan was living in Delavan, and I was in college. And our parents had just moved to Delavan a few years before that. So I come home from college, and I didn't know anything. And I certainly wasn't going to hang around with my younger brother because I was able to drink. So Jan was sitting at home with the kids and my parents. What a thrilling evening that was. So we decided to go out. And we went to a little tavern called Rondo Manor between Lake Geneva and Elkhorn. And we'd sit at the bar. A piano bar. It was a piano bar. And we'd sit there for hours. And we'd drink. And we never seemed to get worried. But one thing on the way home, we'd always say to each other, did you notice the piano player never went to the job? And we went 9 or 10 times. So after a couple months of this, we got to know him. His name was Pete. And we'd sing a piano and we'd say, Pete, you gotta go to the job. He said, no, I don't. I said, what, you have a bucket down there or something? He said, no, I just learned to control my kidneys. So Pete finally became a very good friend of ours as the years went by. Not so much of Jan, but Michael and me when we had to do the show. But one night, Jan and I were sitting there wondering why we weren't getting loaded. And we took a drink, held the glass up, and we looked, and the glasses were colored. Do you remember that, Jan? They were light at the top and dark at the bottom, like you had a full drink. And I think we were getting shorted on the drink. So then Jan met Sim, and that was the end of me. But I also know that Jan was the favorite. Right? Of Mom. None of the rest of us were ever allowed to live with her with all our kids. Jan was. So Jan was the favorite.
Okay, anybody else first?
She was allowed to take.
What do you mean? I did.
looking for others.
And you live in,
Portland, Oregon.
and your relationship, who are you stuck with?
Jan's my mom. Who am I married with? Oh, Frank. I'm not very creative, but Jan is. And though I never keep in touch, I'm not very good about keeping in touch, card-wise, letter-wise, but Jan is. Never missed a card. If anybody remembers us, it's Jan. And anyway, we were going through pictures, and I found this letter from September 12, 1980. This is a week before Dodie and Chris's wedding. And it's a snapshot. It's a memory. Not everyone is here, but I thought you'd enjoy hearing from the words of Jan, keeping in touch with us out in Oregon. I've been writing for, and I've also had a glass of wine, and I'm also shaky in front of everybody. I've been waiting for some reprints to come before writing. All the pictures turned out great, but just pick the ones I thought you would like. We had such fun with you, and it was so hard to leave. I'm sending some clippings from the paper. Dick's sister Susie, remember her from Billy's wedding? And a friend were killed September 5th. We've all been upset, but poor Billy the worst. The house was still in one piece when we got home from Oregon, but Amy had an accident with Dodie's car, or Dad's car. Not serious, $500 damage on our car, and more on the other guys. No one was hurt, just inexperienced. Amy made a left turn in front of the other car. It was hard going back to work on Monday when Dad had 2 more days. Holly and Lynn surprised Dodie with a week visit the day after we left. And then, after they left, she got sick. She's fine now. Chris was in a wedding in Barrington last Saturday and came here for dinner Sunday and a couple of hours visit. Tim, his old roommate, was with him, who's going to be best man in the wedding. I kept Jenny today while Sue had her hair cut. She's 3 months now, weighs about 14 pounds, really laughing and lots of fun. Just like Becky when you were at our house, but smaller. Becky, who was going to be 23 and married. Had a phone call from Matthew the night we got back from Oregon. This is Mark and son who's with us in Oregon now and grown and has a married and daughter Miranda. He said, "Hi, Grandma." Sounded so cute and made the finale for our vacation. Then he came and stayed all night on a Tuesday, a couple of weeks following, and Wednesday we took him to the fire station. He talks a blue streak and could hardly wait to go, but when he stood right next to the fire truck, it looked a lot bigger than in the storybooks, and he was a little leery. Lee's due in December, so we probably won't see him again until he's 3.5. It is nice that Lee keeps in touch. Well, I have a million things to do after playing with Jenny most of my day off, and I want to drop Dodie a line and some pictures. I have a surprise picture for you, but it will come after this. Now you'll have something to wait for in the mail. Give Becky a big kiss and hug from all of us. Oh, forgot. The picture of her from you fits in my frame perfect. Jan and her frames, keeping them up to date. That's our job, right? I got 2 more frames, then some. So Matthew, Becky, and Jenny are all together on the shelf under the TV. They look darling. Love, Jan. Kiss, kiss, hug, hug.
Those were the first 3 of 16 grandchildren, so that's the first batch. Okay, who would like next? Brooke.
I was my dad's favorite. And that means just as much or more to me. Okay, for me, it means a lot more. And I was his favorite. Everybody.
The others are arguing. But that,
Did he write a poem called to his littlest angel about you? Oh. Anyway, I don't really have anything planned.
Some other poems you wrote though.
I don't have anything really planned, but I just wanted to say a couple things. Because I was the youngest, through a lot of my life, it felt like I wasn't quite a sister. And in fact, because Janet and Marilyn had kids that were indeed older than I was, they, particularly Jan, who always said, well, you're just one of my kids. And I would hang out with Billy, who teased me just like a brother, and Dodie, who I fought with just like a sister, and Paul, who was younger than me, so it was kind of cool.
So you picked on me.
Hanging out with him too. But what I remember most is going to their house and just having a really good time, and in many ways wishing that Janet was my mother, truly, because she was so much fun. We got to play games and we'd laugh, and I don't remember her ever yelling at me or spanking me or anything. It was just fun, fun, fun. And then throughout the years, I got to know her more as a sister, but the time that was really important to me was, and I thought Cliff was gonna lose it, when we were packing up Mom's house, and it was just the two of us, and he told me all about your mom, and it was just really special to me. Because for the first time I felt like a real sister, as opposed to one of the kids. And now that I'm 46 and old, I'm still apparently the baby, but I feel much more like a sibling than just a kid. And that made me feel really special. Thank you. Happy birthday. Okay, Mike, you are next. And you are number one in the lineup.
Well, I'm really young. I'm one of the babies, that's for sure.
Okay.
Well, I don't have a big, long story. Actually, the only story I can really, really remember was, and I don't even remember the street anymore, but when I lived in Wilmette.
Gregory. Gregory.
No. This was when you were married.
Luna.
When Jan was married. No, to Pete. On Prairie. Yeah, Prairie. And all the kids were, the younger kids were there, and she wanted me to babysit. Because I really was, believe it or not, somewhat responsible. And so she and her Pete wanted to go out to wherever, and they asked me to babysit, and I did. And I don't know why this is so vivid, but I remember I fell asleep on the couch, and they came home, and it was the summertime because the screen door was open, and I had locked the screen door, and they couldn't get in. And they banged on the door, and they banged on the door, and they were like 10 feet away from me, and I was gone. I mean, the whole place could have been stolen and burned down, and I still would have been involved. And they, I don't know, I think they finally broke in or something to get in. That's the only story I remember. And so that was all. Happy birthday.
Oh, come on, we don't have enough tell-all stories. We want them published. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
All right, well,
Wait, your name is?
I'm Jeanette. I'm a daughter-in-law, and I have a couple of stories that bring me back just 11 years ago. I don't have stories from way back when, but I want to share a couple of ones with you. The first one, well, actually both stories are very engraved in my heart that I'll never forget. The first one, Jan, is when one night Paul and I went to the studio, which is your favorite restaurant, so we went there for dinner. And Cindy was with us, so the four of us got a table, and we wanted to announce our engagement. But we didn't want to tell it right away. We just wanted to have dinner first, and by my left hand, and I was sitting on my hand. You should try it one of these days to eat dinner with just one hand. It is difficult. And here I am, trying to enjoy my dinner and talking about things, and Cindy was in one hand, just talking, and we were having a good time. And then finally, Paul said something, and here I am, bringing out my left hand, showed her the ring, and all of a sudden, she exclaimed with a big smile from ear to ear, "I knew it!" So you knew it. You knew it from the very first moment. Now, the other story that I have to tell, I'm going to get a little personal here with my own personal life, but when I was pregnant with Shannon, my first daughter, I did not buy any pregnancy underwear. I just used my very own because it felt mine. And one day, Jan says to me on the phone, I really bought these panties, and they're huge. They just don't fit, so I want you to have them. And I said, okay, no problem. Next time I come by, I'll take them. So we came to visit one night, and here she comes with the underwear. And I looked at them, and I'm going, my eyes just got wide open because they were huge. And I went, oh my God. But I didn't tell her anything. I said, oh, that's perfect. Thank you. Well, I got home that night, and I said, well, I got to try one of these. And I tried it on, and it was like heaven opened its doors and just gave me all comfort all over me. And, no offense to anybody around here, but it was the best gift that you gave me, that anybody could have given me during my pregnancy. So thank you. I love you. You're my second mom here in the States, and I just don't know what else to say. Can I kiss you? Thank you.
Hello.
This is my younger daughter. She goes, what about me?
He's ahead of me now. I catch up to you next June.
Well, I have a
Ooh.
little story, and I may have a few of the details. It was before freshman year in high school, the day before schools to start. It was a big day, first year of high school, you want to be cool, look sharp and stuff. We were at a picnic of some sort, I don't remember exactly what it was. And I was reading all day because the last thing I remembered from football practice, like on the previous Friday, the coach said, all you guys, first day of school, you gotta have short haircuts. So I was worried about that. Here it was Sunday night, and I said, Jan volunteered to give me a haircut after an all-day picnic of probably just one or two drinks. So anyway, it was a great haircut. I didn't know she was on the vanguard of the spiky punk rock. She was way ahead of her time. And as you can see, my hair has never recovered.
Okay. Paul is talking, and I will send you the video for any clips you missed.
All right. Are all the kids here?
Krista. Oh, she's gonna do it? Oh my God.
Birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grandma. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, and one more solo.
First blow out the candle. Well, we're gonna cut this cake now.
Come on. I'm going out tonight, I'm feeling alright. I'm gonna let it all hang out. Wanna make some noise, really raise my voice. Yeah, I wanna scream and shout.
Donna.
No inhibitions, make no conditions, get a little out of line. I ain't never got politically correct, I only wanna have a good time. The best thing about being a woman is the prerogative to have a little fun.